There's a place in Texas where the ground still screams. A place so cursed even the air smells like death. It's not a myth. It's not just a legend. It's real. And if you stand too close, you might hear it whisper your name. This is the true horror of Dead Man's Hole, and once you hear it, you'll never forget it. They say the ground in Burnet County never forgets. Not the blood, not the bodies, and certainly not the screams. I never believed in curses, not really. I grew up thinking ghosts were stories told by bored people or those looking for attention. But that changed the day I visited Dead Man's Hole, a real place, hidden off a quiet stretch of dirt road in the heart of Texas hill country. From the surface, it doesn't look like much. Just a limestone shaft carved deep into the ground. It's fenced off now. Tourists and ghost hunters used to get too close. But the fence doesn't stop the smell. Even in daylight, there's something wrong in the air. The smell is old. Sour. Not quite death, but something decayed. Like earth that's been bruised and never healed. I went there alone last summer. I was writing a research piece on Civil War execution sites in Texas. Dead Man's Hole was a legend I'd heard in whispers. How Confederate soldiers, angered by local Union sympathizers, would take them into the woods, force them to kneel beside the hole, and then throw their bodies in after shooting them point blank. No trials, no names. Just a hole full of secrets. Locals say at least 17 confirmed bodies were dumped there. But unofficially, that number could be much higher. I arrived just before dusk, hoping to photograph the hole during golden hour. The fence was rusted in places, the warning signs half faded. I set up my camera, placed a small audio recorder near the edge and let it run while I took photos of the surrounding area. It was quiet. Too quiet. There were no birds, no insects buzzing, just wind curling through the brush like something searching. Then, at exactly 7:42 p.m., the recorder picked up a sound. I didn't hear it with my ears. Only later when I played back the tape. It starts low, like wind through a pipe. But then it changes. The pitch sharpens. And if you listen closely, you hear breathing, not mine. It's ragged, like someone struggling. Then a whisper, faint, almost buried in the static. It's not enough. At the time, I didn't know what it meant. I just assumed it was interference. That night, I made the mistake of staying nearby, just 10 minutes away, in a cheap roadside motel in Marble Falls. I couldn't sleep. I kept feeling like something had followed me, like dirt had clung to my clothes in a way it shouldn't have. At 2:17 a.m., I woke up gasping, like someone had just dragged me up from underwater. I didn't remember dreaming, but my ears were ringing, my nose was bleeding, and the floor beneath me felt warm. I turned on every light in the room. There, on the inside of the bathroom mirror, written in streaky condensation, was one word: down. I hadn't used the shower. I hadn't touched the mirror. I left the motel at dawn and returned to Dead Man's Hole. I don't know why. Something pulled me back. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe it was guilt. Or maybe something had called me. I stood at the fence again and looked down. The shaft is over 150 feet deep. When I dropped a rock in, I never heard it hit bottom. Just endless darkness that seemed to pull sound inward like a throat-swallowing noise. That's when I heard it. A scream. Not loud, not shrill, but constant. Rising from the shaft like a siren echoing through a tunnel. I leaned in closer, trying to hear. And that's when I saw something that still haunts me. At the very edge of the shaft, fingers. Pale. Gripping the stone. Rim. Just for a second. Then gone. I stumbled back and tripped, falling onto the ground. And then, silence. No wind, no echo, not even my own breathing. I turned to crawl away and saw footprints behind me, bare, humans, leading toward the hole. But they weren't mine. I ran. I didn't look back. In the car, I checked my gear. My camera, static. My recorder, dead. But the SD card had one last file, just static. Then, it's still hungry. I've tried forgetting what happened. I've told myself maybe it was the wind, the heat, the stress. But 2 nights after I left, I woke up with dirt in my mouth. I hadn't left my house, and every night since then, I hear knocking under the floorboards. 3 knocks. Then silence. always at 2:17. AM doctors say it's sleep paralysis, anxiety, night terrors, but I know better. Dead Man's Hole is not just a pit. It's a mouth, a wound in the land that never closed, and it wants to be fed. So if you ever find yourself in Burnet County, and the road grows quiet, and the wind seems to whisper your name, don't stop, don't look back, and for God's sake, don't go near the hole. Some stories are meant to scare you, others are meant to warn you. So the next time you pass through Burnet County and the road turns quiet, and something calls you to the trees, don't answer, don't stop, and whatever you do, don't go near the hole, because some places don't bury the dead, they feed on the living.